Okay, for this particular example, we need to combine the product rule and the quotient rule. Okay, so to find the derivative. So let's review those really quick. The product rule, okay, which will apply to the numerator here. The product rule says that if you have a function that can be written as a product of two other functions, then the derivative of that function can be found using this formula. The derivative of the first times the second plus the first times derivative of the second. Okay, now in this particular example, we also need to apply the quotient rule. Okay, well, the quotient rule, and let me use some different letters here just so we don't get too confused, can be found using the formula derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times derivative of the bottom over the bottom squared. Okay, so that's what we're going to have to use, a combination of those two. Okay, so let's start out by using the quotient rule. And I'm going to go ahead and color coordinate this a little bit. I'm going to use red and pink for the numerator. I think that'll make it a little easier to follow along. And I'll use blue for the denominator. Okay, now if I wanted to find the derivative of my function, I'm going to apply the quotient rule first, recognizing that overall this is a fraction. Okay, so the way that works is that I need to find first the derivative of the numerator. Okay, the derivative of the numerator, this piece right here. Well, I'm going to have to use the product rule just for that. So let me go and kind of leave a blank right there. Probably going to need to use a pretty big blank there. Okay, and I'm going to fill in the rest of it. So remember the quotient rule says the derivative of the numerator, okay, that's going to go here, times the denominator. Okay, so the denominator is 3 plus 9w. Okay, oops. Okay, minus the top as is. Okay, well, I'm going to put a blank here. Let me actually go ahead and fill in the top. Since I don't have to find the derivative, I don't have to change anything yet. Times the derivative of the denominator. Okay, so the denominator is 3 plus 9w. The derivative of that would be 9. Okay, so now, oh, and well, while we're at it, let's put the denominator squared on the bottom. Okay, now let's use the product rule to figure out what goes in this blank. Okay, so the product rule, derivative of the first times the second. Okay, well, the first is 1 minus 4w, so the derivative of the first is going to be negative 4. Times the second one, which is 2 plus w, plus the first one, 1 minus 4w, times the derivative of the second one. The derivative of 2 plus w, that's 2 plus 1w, is 1. Okay, and then we can simplify that if we want to, but for the time being, this is perfectly good enough.